What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie298 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet. And this video is based on a user request because if you're not aware, right now, there's a couple of games that have come out. One, on one hand, is Sekiro, which is a very difficult game. A lot of people really enjoy that type of difficulty, and a lot of people really don't. And then meanwhile, you have another game that came out called Yoshi's Crafted World, which is super easy. Some people enjoy the easy stuff, some people don't. I wanted to talk about that. Now, if I'm going to be entirely honest with you, I just want to admit that Sekiro is a game that I do not enjoy. I've never been into the Dark Souls games, but I knew that Sekiro was going to be different, and I found it to be even more difficult and even more challenging than the Dark Souls games. This entire line of games is not for me, and if you follow this channel, you'll know that other games like Celeste, I never complete. Games like Cuphead, I never complete, just because the idea of repetition is not interesting to me. I mean, I used to do that in World of Warcraft, but I certainly don't want to do it anymore. And look, if you watch me on Twitch, if you watch my gameplay on any of my channels here on YouTube, you know I'm not very good at video games. I'm just never going to be good at video games. I've been playing them for 35, 40 years now at this point, and I never did get good. I just got as good as I was going to get, and then I've hit that glass ceiling, and I can't break it no matter what. And this has always been true for me. Whenever I would rent a video game as a kid and it turned out to be one of those absurdly difficult games like Ninja Gaiden, my weekend was ruined. I would pound at that game for a little while, eventually give up, and actually go play outside because that's how much I hated it. But now a lot of people like me seem to believe that video games like this, like Sekiro, like Ninja Gaiden, like Cuphead, should have an easy play mode. And I absolutely disagree with that. I can just accept the fact that Sekiro is not for me. Cuphead, Celeste, these games are not for me to complete. And if I do want to complete them, I can go with a more challenging mode or just, give up on it and move on to a game that I do prefer. And the game that I'm currently choosing to play instead of Sekiro is Yoshi's Crafted World. And if I'm being entirely honest with you, this game is designed to be very easy. This game has a basic mode, which is designed to be super easy, and then it has a slightly more challenging mode, and I've been playing on the slightly more challenging mode. This game technically has a hard mode, if you want to count that, but the game is not about difficulty. The game is mostly about jumping and exploration and collecting and goofing off and relaxing. And look, I love Yoshi's Woolly World. I've actually died in a few places. I've definitely found it slightly difficult from time to time, so it's not without its difficulty. But I mostly enjoy the vibrant colors, the beautiful settings, the way the game itself plays, the exploration, the collection. I've always preferred those types of games. I would rather the game look good and play good and just be fun to play. Challenge has never really been an issue for me, and if the challenge is too steep, I tend to walk away. And I think it's okay to just walk away. Now, not everyone agrees that it's okay to walk away, because this writer right here at Forbes magazine actually submitted an article saying that Sekiro needs to respect its players and add an easy mode. And I think the idea that it's disrespectful to not have an easy mode, that it's disrespectful for the game to be made to be challenging, is absurd. Obviously, this is absurd. I almost thought this was an April Fool's joke until I saw it was posted on March 28th. Now, I know you're scratching your head right now saying, Boogie, why doesn't he just go play Yoshi's Woolly World instead? Because it's a much easier game, it's a much more fun game, probably more his speed. Why does he feel the need for them to change a game he otherwise may not even need to play? He doesn't have to play that game, so why does he need it changed? I don't know. Welcome to 2019. So one of the most common arguments I've actually seen is people saying that there needs to be easy modes for accessibility, that some people with disabilities have difficulty playing video games, and since they have those difficulties, it would be nice if they could experience the game regardless of their disability. Now look, while I obviously empathize with anybody out there with a disability, there are still plenty of people with disabilities who enjoy a challenge and are excited for that challenge. We have seen a blind person beat Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. We have seen people with amputations or cerebral palsy or other disabilities being the #1 Fortnite players. We have seen some really amazing stuff with people from disabilities. I don't think people with disabilities necessarily always need or want an easy mode. And if you paid attention to the Super Bowl this year, then certainly you will know that Xbox makes an amazing line of accessibility options for their players. Whether it's remapping stuff on Xbox, remapping stuff in Windows 10, or their accessibility packages and controllers that allow anybody to be able to play almost any video game. I mean, we've seen some amazing stuff with this controller. The illustrious Steven Spoon, who I follow on Twitter, actually runs a charity called Able Gamers. And Able Gamers will take people who are in need of those types of accessibility options and set them up with consoles and rigs and options and help them find a way that they can play any game they want, including your dreaded Dark Souls or your Sekiro's Shadow Die Twice. If they want to play these games, it is entirely possible for people to play them. And if I'm being entirely honest here, and I want to be, I think it is detestable to use people with a disability as a shield here, because people with disabilities tend to be very perseverant. They tend to be able to overcome a lot of stuff your average person can't overcome. And if they want to beat a video game, by God, they're going to beat a video game, and the tools are out there to help them do it. But the author goes on to say that there are also people out there who have limited gaming time, and they don't necessarily want to fight Lady Butterfly 100 times in a row. Or maybe they're just not that good at timing their parries. Maybe they get frustrated and they just don't feel like being frustrated. And that's why I won't beat these games, is because I get too frustrated. I get console crushing, controller snapping, screaming, television breaking, angry. I turn into actual Francis when I play these games. That's why I won't play these games. That's why I play Yoshi's Woolly World instead, and I think you should too. Another case we will see about these games is that they are beautiful games with good stories and great world design and really fascinating and amazing stuff, and the challenge is not the only thing that they bring to the table, and that people want to experience the things other than the challenge. And I'm willing to say that as long as there are still YouTube playthroughs, as long as there's still Twitch, there's plenty of ways to be able to play that game. Even if you are not up to the challenge like me, even if you're not capable of it, you can still experience this game by watching a YouTube playthrough. That's what we're here for. There's still already a way out there for people like you and me to experience these games even if we don't play them. Look, Sekiro may very well be on my Games of the Year list this year at the end of the year, even though I wasn't able to personally play it and I wasn't even able to personally beat it. And it's because I'm going to watch other people play it, I'm going to watch other people beat it, and I can gauge the quality of the game from that. Now, I would never post a review based on that, but it might very well make it on the top 10 best games of the year list because I can understand the quality of the game by watching somebody else play it. I can experience it. If I don't have enough time, if I get too easily frustrated, or I have a disability, I can watch somebody else play the game. That's the entire purpose of these channels. But when this conversation comes up, a lot of people will say that games journalists ask for this for one reason and for one reason only. And it's because if they're not good at a video game, and they need to play through a demo, they need to play through a game to review it, then they want an easy mode to make it easier for them to experience it and to review it, because they're not real gamers, they're not good gamers, they're not capable of talking about the game if they haven't played it, and they can't play it because they don't know how to get good. And most of the time, when those kinds of insane theories come up, I just kind of roll my eyes because it doesn't seem to make much sense. But in this case, it makes a lot of sense. And I can argue for the disability, and I can argue for the people short on time, and I can argue for the people that get frustrated needing easy game modes. But for your average person, it's very easy for them to experience the game through somebody like me streaming it on Twitch. It is almost impossible for a journalist who needs to get the review out before the release to experience it any other way. And on the flip side of this coin, we have games like Yoshi's Crafted World. We have Star Fox Zero, which gave players an invincibility mode if they were not good at video games, allowing kids to experience the games. And if you played the Super Mario Bros. For Wii U or some of the later Super Mario Bros. Games, you'll know they tend to add an easy mode for those games if you fail enough. And some people complain about that. Some people will never experience Yoshi's Crafted World because it's considered to be too easy of a game, even though it's not always easy to find every red coin or to find every flower or to complete every level 100%. I actually find it quite challenging, and I've actually died in a few places, but some people will allow that prejudice to keep them from playing that beautiful game. And that's a real shame, too, because Yoshi's Crafted World is a perfect game in almost every way with photorealistic graphics in some places. And it's just got a beautiful art style, and it's so colorful and so pretty, and the gameplay itself is actually fun. Not challenging, but fun. And take a look at this score at Metacritic. With an 80 score by the critics and an 8.5 by its community, you know it's a pretty fun game. And I do think it's kind of a shame that I will never get to personally experience all of Sekiro, instead watching somebody else play it, because it's got a 90 over at Metacritic with a user score of 7.6. Metacritic actually says it's a must-play, but for people like me who don't know how to get good, it's at least a must-watch. And look, I don't feel particularly strongly on either side of this problem. Here's what I do feel strongly about. The developers get to make the choice of whatever game they want to create. If the folks over at From Software decided their niche is to have super difficult, super painfully hard to play games, then that's okay. And if the folks over at Nintendo decide that their niche is to create super friendly, easy, fun to play games, that's okay too. And at the end of the day, From Software shouldn't have to add an easy mode, and they shouldn't have to add a difficulty slider to Yoshi. Make the games however you want to make them. I don't know why journalists would want them to make them any other way. And I'm not a monster. Of course, I celebrate when a developer makes accessibility options. I love it when they let you play with accessibility controllers, or allow you to add colorblind modes, or allow you to have lots of different options that might suit your particular needs. I think it's good, and I think it's important, and I think it's great. I just think easy mode isn't necessary for that. And if you're one of those other people and you just don't have enough free time, maybe you should play a different game, or maybe you shouldn't be playing games at all. If you're the kind of person that gets angry like me,
I'm fucking calm, David. Why don't you go back to bed, David?
well, then maybe you need therapy. And maybe you need therapy in the form of Yoshi's Crafted World. Or maybe you consider playing Sekiro exposure therapy. Because when I play those really hard to play games, that's what I consider it. It's a chance to learn to control my emotions and get good. And look, even though it's probably just a straw man argument, if there are any games journalists out there who think to themselves, I wish these games were shorter, I wish they were easier, I wish it was easy to beat it, because I don't want to have to review this game, then let somebody else at your publication review it. Or maybe you picked the wrong field of journalism to go into, because it's about playing games if you're going to write about them. That's why I tried to play Sekiro, because if I'm going to talk about that game, I need to have at least bought it and played it. Now, that's just one man's opinion. I could be wrong, and I know if I am wrong, you're going to let me know in the comments section below. As always, guys, let me know what you think about this video. Drop a like on it, and hit subscribe. If you're already subscribed, hit that notification bell. And until the next time, I love you very much. I'll speak with you again.